New rules, JD. New rules come to the NFL, kind of adopting more of a college-style approach. So I'm curious. As a fan, I love this. As someone who plays fantasy, I love this. So curious what you have to say about this. So new rule changes. Tush push is here to stay for now, but the NFL is set to make the NFL look closer to college overtime rules. Been a long time coming for many fans out there for this. The NFL owners have passed a rule change that will allow both teams to possess the ball in overtime during the regular season. So pretty much adopting the playoff rules, but taking that to the regular season. However, instead of 15 minutes, it's going to be a 10-minute overtime. So JD, would you say the NFL has finally gotten overtime right, or is there still something you would like to be seen added to that or tinkered with a little bit?
No, I think that's the best way to do it. I think it's fair for guys, team, give a chance, an opportunity to, at least try to rectify what another team has done. If they scored, it's like, oh man, the game is over. So I didn't mind that rule. I really didn't mind it because it put it on the defense and whatnot to make sure you stopped a team. Okay, and then also the incentive would be not just kick a field goal if that was the case, but to actually go down and score a touchdown. But I do believe that the rule in itself now, they have it put in, I think is the proper way to do it. I think it's the proper way to do it, man. I actually like that idea more than the previous one. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man.
The one thing I will say, we don't see it. We don't see ties that often. But the one thing I will say is 10 minutes, right? So I received the opening kickoff, and I'm a team that likes to sustain drives like the Chiefs have been last year and the last 2 years, right? Sustain drives, kind of give those first downs. And there's potential that you are the only team that gets the ball, really, if you can sustain a long drive. 10 minutes is not that long. I mean, that's where it's for me, it's I would have just loved them to give them 15 minutes. But my thing is, if it does come to it, because 10 minutes, if you have two teams that are just going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, you may see more actually ties in that case with that. And that kind of scares me and if we do see that, then what's the rule of the future going to be? How can we prevent ties?
Yeah. I don't like the whole tie thing. I don't. I think at that point, after the 10 minutes, if you call that overtime rules regulation, no sudden death squad. I like sudden death. Then all of a sudden didn't make it. Whereas, okay, next team that scores, whatever it may be, so be it, right? Or y'all have one possession each, and that's it. After that 10, right? If you move on to these overtime rules, the next one will be sudden death. One team has one chance, the other team has another chance, and that's it. Then, so be it. If it's a tie, it's a tie, right? But yeah, 10 minutes. I was sitting there thinking, man, when I was reading this rule, I'm just like, man, 10 minutes is it's not really a long time at all. So obviously, strategically, teams will try to do a much better job of holding on to the football as long as possible, not necessarily giving another team a chance and time to go down and score. So I think you could at least try to draft, your offense in a particular way that you could eat up the clock. So I think that's part of what you do. But yeah, I don't like the whole after 10 minutes the tie. I don't like that part of it. But
yeah, that was the one thing they amended of it. So the original proposal was a full 15 minutes. They amended that and passed the OT rules, but with 10 minutes, not 15 minutes, which is you let these guys play for 10 more minutes. I mean, come on, 5 more minutes. Is that really the end of the world here?
Yeah, that's a. Well, then that's what. How was it? Then you start at the whatever yard line, the
college rules. They start at 35 or whatever.
Yeah, do that, right? You score, you score. If you don't, then you don't. You kick a field goal, then fine. The next team comes up, kick a field goal, and if that's what it is, then that's what it is. But I think, I know as players, you don't want to keep playing either. I mean, but it is competition. I don't want to go home with a tie. I never like that. And especially guys been playing hard. You've been playing your tail off all game. Dudes and got hurt, all those different things just to end in a tie. I don't like that at all. I'm like, I don't like it in boxing. I hate it in boxing.
It's terrible. It's
Yeah.
a waste of a watch.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think the judges, we see us a lot. I think the judges are in on it. I think no doubt about it. Like, I don't know who to give it to. Yeah, really? Yeah, let's go ahead and just make it a tie, right? Or the ones, I don't want to talk about boxing because sometimes you see some judges getting out close enough. Some dudes just way off. You're like, wait a minute, what was you watching? Right? So.
Yeah, boxing is one of the ones where people talk about rigged and crooked for the NFL.
Yeah,
that's boxing. There's, I think there's a little bit more to that with that than the NFL. NFL, you got guys playing their asses off for 60 minutes. The last thing they want to do is go home with a tie because that pretty much doesn't do anything. I mean, that doesn't do anything for anybody, really.
Right.
You have a question here, 2 questions. So we got Amna Brown and Demetrius Smith. So Amna Brown, based on the Chiefs Super Bowl OT victory, everyone said the quarter length didn't matter if the position never completed. Would it be different if the possession never completed? Yeah, because the quarter went down to the end, and then it went actually. So yeah, maybe you're right. There would be no tie then. So there you go.
Yeah,
I think so, but I don't know. Because remember that the clock was ticking down to zeros.
mm-hmm.
Romo Nance said that play would have continued on after that expired. They would just continue the time again. So yeah, I don't know, but I haven't read that. I know if they're taking the same playoff rules and they're bringing it over, that'd be horrible to have any ties. So I hope that is the case, Amber Brown.
Yeah.
And then Demetrius Spence asked, how much practice time will be dedicated to the 10-minute drill?
None. 0. I mean, it's just regular football. You just what you play. The same thing like 4-minute offense or whatnot. So you just gear everything toward, just trying to maintain the football for a long period of time. But you had that shoot, I don't want to do you any good if you don't score. You do all that, man. It's like, yo, you still get any points out of it, or just 3. So
yeah, Mike Bryce says the new rule doesn't change the playoff rules as far as I've read. So yeah, so essentially, if it takes me 10 minutes to score, then you get possession with the ball, and then you can go down. So it's guaranteeing both teams will get time. So that makes it a whole lot better. I love this. Then the whole number thing doesn't make any sense. Then why even give it a limit? Then if I take 10 minutes to score, then you still get a chance to get the ball. Then what's the 10 minutes then? So I think they should make it untimed. Would that make sense, JD?
Yeah. You could go on forever.
That's true.
At least, how long it'll take. You don't want one of those marathon of a football game anymore. You don't want to deal with that. Next thing you know, you're trying to put the kids in beds, the kids are laying in the stands, and only adults is up watching. Like, man, I gotta go to work, and things of that nature, whatever it is, whatever it may be, right? If it's late game or so. I'll say this: it doesn't matter what the rule's going to be. There's always going to be a complaint. Somebody's not going to like it. So let's try this thing and see how it works. But I do like how it is right now. So.
Yeah, no, I love it, and when I hear the overtime rules, it brings me back to the game you were at, JD, where Baker when they lost the coin toss, the picture there where Baker goes like this when they.
Yeah, God, you knew it. Like, hey, Pat was like, "Hey, man, good game." Like, hey, you actually played a good game. Okay? Now it's time to do you in. Now we got to do you in. Okay. So you had your shot. You had your chance. You played a wonderful game, sir. But here it ends. So.
Yep. Yeah, but like you said, people are going to complain about. I'm sure at some point they're going to complain about something. But in the end, this rule, it's great because now it's like it actually guarantees. There's no more crying about they won the coin toss, they scored a touchdown, we never got a chance to get the ball. It's like, okay, well now you get a chance to get the ball. So now after that, if you don't do anything after that, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, and that's a good thing. There's no ties if they are bringing over the playoff rules. That's another good thing. So no more ties in the NFL. Hey, all day long, baby.
Yeah, man. Like I said before, I hate seeing a tie. I do.
Did you ever get a tie in Philly or Kansas City? No,
Never. Never.
Yeah, whenever I see a tie, and the guys like when the game's over, they always look so pissed off.
Yeah. No, like somebody's got to win this thing. You've been out there. I left a couple of teeth. You know what I'm saying? But I broke my hand. Hey, somebody needs to win. This ain't we're gonna step off, shake hands at the end of this, and say, no, no, sir. It ties on American. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
You gotta be a winner. It's gotta be a win after this thing. If I lose, so be it, right?
Yeah. Mike Brad says NFL should go to the judges if game ends in a tie. No more overtime. And then you'd have a revolt as far as the bettors. The bettors would not appreciate that at all. They wouldn't trust it. Mm-hmm. Not that they trust it anyway right now anyways. As a matter of fact, as far as the betting wise, I've seen this commercial a lot during the March Madness. It's like pretty much telling people to like lay off college kids. Like they're still kids and you're a loser for going after them. It's a kind of an infomercial kind of thing where it's like, lay off the kids. Like they're still adolescents pretty much. Don't go to Twitter and berate them because you lost your bet. Don't bet if you're gonna get mad at students, which is pretty good advertisement, honestly. Because a lot of guys, a lot of people treat the college kids like they do with the NFL, like the NBA or NFL players. They don't catch a certain amount of passes. They crush them on social media. So it's nice. It's nice that they're making advertisements to kind of step in from that stuff.
You could try to shield them from criticism or whatnot. They're gonna learn at some point that it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It feel good. Yeah, no, you should. It matter if you do it with everybody, but some people like, man, they adults. Let them.
I think we lost JD. Yeah, we lost JD for a little bit. This happened last week as well. He'll be back on in a second. What JD, I think what JD is about to say here is like, some people will say that
man,
JD, you broke up and then you came back on just then.
It happened. I don't know what's going on, man. Hopefully the storms ain't starting right now. They didn't happen.
Well, this happened last Wednesday, but it didn't happen on Monday. So,
yeah, I don't know. No,
I always give it a beat when it happens. I don't know if it's happening to me or it's happening to you. Then I see the chat continue to go, and then I'm like, okay.
He said, "Let him what, JD?" So, 19-year-olds don't need the pressure of a guy betting spreads with his rent money. They don't. But I think it's necessary as a coach and everybody else to let them 19-year-olds understand, like, look, there's going to be idiots out there. They're going to be saying whatever. They're going to be trying to make, statements about your playing time, how you should do this and that whatsoever. You just got to watch yourself. Be aware of idiots that's out there that's trying to get you to do something or saying something about you. This is the world we live in. Everybody's under a microscope, especially on social media, which, people are regularly just watching and opine on anything, right? So, how are you going to stop it? How are you going to stop that? That's the problem. That's the problem.
That's always going to be the thing. And also too, like what some people may think, we've kind of talked about the whole NIL stuff. People think like, these guys are getting paid millions. Some of these players are getting paid millions. Obviously, not all of the college players people are betting on are getting paid millions, but some of them are. And then, you have those people say, well, you know what? They are professionals now. They're getting paid millions of dollars to play a college sport. I'm going to say what I have to say to these people. So, I mean, that's probably the rationale for some of these people to, go at these college kids in that way, at least on social media.
Yeah. I think what you had to do is you got to build a kid's his confidence up as much as possible. And you just got to let them understand, like, you out there to play the game, having a great time. Okay. And you're trying to win, be competitive. But you don't have to be doing it out here for the guy who's sitting over here, opening up a daggone keg or whatever, or saying like, oh, you lost me money, or my house payment, my mortgage payment, or whatever it may be. So you're not in control of that. You don't feel like you need to be. Okay. You're not responsible for that person. That person's an adult too. They got to be responsible for themselves. So, and I'm sure these kids, man, at 19, they're hearing all type of things from their own friends. No telling what else that they're seeing. It's just shit crazy out here. Wild, wild west, man. Bananas, straight bananas.
Well, it's interesting because, like, in the state of Virginia, you can't bet on Virginia schools. So I can't bet on UVA, Virginia Tech, any of those. Like, I can't bet on any of them. Like March Madness, if a team's playing in March Madness, I can't bet on it. And they did that. The specific reasoning was proponents of the rule argue it protects Virginia student athletes from corrupt influences and harassment within the state. So that's a pretty good. I mean, obviously, social media travels everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
But at least it takes away that, like, the localness of that whole thing within that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a player attending Virginia Tech, you're not going to go to class the next day. Everybody in that room is going to bully you because you laid an egg the night before. They didn't bet on it, right? They can't bet on it. So
yeah. I'm good over here, Newt. Appreciate it, brother. Good over here.
Yeah, Mike Brennan not being able to bet on Virginia Tech games was killing me, but I get it. You can use underdog and that's not betting. You can predict their stat outcomes on underdogs. There you go, Mike.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.